G'day everyone, it's Doctor Colin here with another pop culture powwow trailer drop review, and this is a big one. This is the full-length trailer for The Legend of Ben Hall, which is a trailer I've been waiting for months to drop, and it does not disappoint. And let me tell you, I can't remember a time when I sat through 2.5 minutes of footage from a film that I hadn't seen with a big idiotic grin on my face covered in goosebumps. That's what this trailer did to me, so I'm very excited to talk a bit about it. Now, the thing with trailers is that they're kind of a mixed bag, and this trailer strikes a beautiful balance between showing lots of things that we haven't seen, but not giving things away, which is very, very hard to do, let me tell you. And one of the things that is really good is that it does not give away the story. Now, those of us who know the story of Ben Hall can look at this trailer and recognise key moments that appear on screen, but we're not going to see that play out and go, oh, no, just going to be another walk through this. No, it gets you really interested in how that's going to be shown, and doesn't give away the ending, doesn't give away where it fits into the story. And that's one of the things that I love about all the stuff that's been released up to this point, which is that it gets you interested and thinking about how it's all going to come together, which is what a trailer should do, which is what all that promotional stuff should be doing. And the two things that I'm going to talk about specifically that really sell it to me are the acting and the visuals. The reason that I'm focusing on these is because these are the two things in a trailer that you really need to show off in order to get people hooked. If you don't have good acting, people aren't going to relate to the characters. If you don't have good visuals, people aren't going to be interested in looking at it. So the fact that this trailer does an awesome job of showing off both of those things, it's really good to see. So there's three actors in particular that are given a lot of screen time in this trailer, which is Jamie Coffer as Johnny Gilbert, Joanne Dobbin as Biddy Hall, and Jack Martin as Ben Hall. And that's because these three characters are probably the most important insofar as the plot. So let me start with Jamie Coffer. Now, I've spoken about Jamie Coffer in previous videos about how I think he's going to be the show stealer, how people are going to watch this and go, oh, I love that character. And this trailer basically does more of the same. It shows you more of him in action, and he's just a blast to watch. But the thing that really jumped out at me was the way that it shows off the dynamic between Johnny Gilbert and Ben Hall. What we can see is that Gilbert is very impulsive and reckless. He charges into things head first, whereas Ben Hall is much more introverted and cerebral and methodical. And obviously that comes to getting them at loggerheads, and to see that tension sort of play out a little bit in the trailer makes me very curious as to how that will play a part in the unveiling of the story in the film. Next, I'm really interested to see Joanne Dobbin as Biddy Hall. The reason for that is that Biddy Hall in folklore seems to be kind of maligned. Most people who know the story, sort of not like in detail, but are aware of the story, would probably just know her as Ben Hall's wife who ran off with the policeman. It doesn't portray her in a very accurate or particularly sympathetic light. The story goes that Ben Hall was put into prison, and while he was in prison, his wife ran off with a policeman, took their son, and then he was released. He found out that his wife had run off, and that's one of the things that pushed him into crime. I get the impression that this film is going to humanize her more and give a bit more of an insight into probably her motivations, which is great, because one of the things that a biopic needs to do is make the characters relatable and three-dimensional. And a lot of biopics that I've seen lately don't do that. They don't give you this sense of a fully rounded, fully developed human being. They give you an idea of a character. And Joanne Dobbin's performance seems to be one that shows Biddy to be very strong. We get the impression that she's trying to protect her son from his father, who is a wanted criminal, the most wanted man in Australia. And I think any parent would probably feel the same way if their partner had gotten involved in all sorts of horrendous things. They would want to keep the kids away from them as much as possible too. So I'm really intrigued by how that dynamic will play out in the film, because it's not one that people generally think about when they think about the story. But the most important performance is going to be Jack Martin as Ben Hall. The weight of the film is on his shoulders, because if you don't have a good Ben Hall in a film about Ben Hall, people are not going to like it. People are not going to get on board. It's a good thing that they got Jack Martin involved in that case, because even in those small glimpses that we've gotten of him, not only does he look uncannily like Ben Hall, which is one of the reasons I became so interested in the project to start with, but he has a very distinct screen presence. He'll dominate without doing anything particularly dominating, which is quite remarkable. He can walk into a scene and you are sort of drawn to him. He will dominate the scene without doing anything other than just standing there. And we see that he doesn't have to raise his voice. Most of the time he doesn't even have to have a gun out. He just sort of says his piece and people listen. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Ben Hall up on screen, large as life, because he was, in a sense, larger than life in his own lifetime. So yeah, that's really exciting for me. And, you know, whenever I look at a film about someone or about people that were real, I look to see how are they going to make that person come to life in a narrative. And, you know, that was one of the reasons why when Heath Ledger was cast as Ned Kelly, I was really excited to see that film, because I'm like, he looks the part, he's an amazing actor. And when I saw the film, I felt gutted, because that performance was so wasted in that absolute, yeah. Well, if you want to find out what I think about that film, you can watch the review. Anyway, moving on. Visuals. I'm a very visual person. I love anything to do with visuals, photography and art and all that sort of stuff. So for me, looking at a trailer, you've got to have good visuals, and this delivers. There is some amazing cinematography here. You know, the two shots that it opens with this sweeping landscape, and especially the shot of Ben Hall silhouetted against the sunset. That was just brilliant. I loved that bit. But there's a lot of really intimate shots of the characters which sort of draw you in, gives you a sense of being a part of what's going on. You know, one of the things that really got the goosebumps going with me was all those shots in the bush where there's gunfights and stuff going on. I'm like, this is what a bushranger film should be. This is what it is. And you know, every time I've looked at anything that these guys have put out about the film, showing some of the cinematography they've done, I'm just like, this is what it should be. This is what Australian cinema has been lacking for a very, very long time. So I'm very excited to see that, because it's one thing to just do like a film about someone and just have your basic kind of shots and editing. It's another thing to use the cinematic medium well, and for that I'd go to Every Frame as a Painting, which I'll put a link to here. There's a lot of stuff there that talks about all that sort of stuff, why that's important for cinematic storytelling, because this film is cinematic. All the shots have these really great use of the environment and the dynamics of the acting and stuff like that. I'm really, really excited to see a lot of this stuff in sort of a longer form. You know, it's like when you get a taste of a food that you sort of had a suspicion that you'd enjoy, and you're just like, okay, I've got the taste for it now, I want more. That's what this is like for me. Altogether, I'm very, very excited for this trailer. It's just, I was so pleased to finally get to see it, and I didn't think I could be any more excited for this film, but I was proven wrong. And there has been an official announcement that it will be released nationwide in Australia on the 1st of December. So it will be released in cinemas in Australia on the 1st of December. I'll be there, definitely. I won't be there with bells on because that gets a bit noisy, but you know what I mean. And there are sort of rumours that there will be some advanced screenings in Forbes in November. But given the recent flash floods that have gone through there, that might potentially affect what's been going on with those plans. If I find out anything, I'll let you guys know. Either way, I'll be there in December. But there's a couple of other things before we head off that I wanted to just quickly mention related to the film. You can find out a bit more about these on the Facebook, Instagram and Twitter for The Legend of Ben Hall, which is the first is that there's a book that they're producing, which is the production companion. It's going to be a big hardcover book that details the whole sort of process of putting the film together, and they're taking pre-orders at the moment. Thing is, you want to get in on this pretty quickly because there's only going to be 500 of these printed ever. After number 500 rolls off the press, that's it, no more. So people are snapping these things up. They've actually extended the pre-order sale that they've got on at the moment. There's some links to that down in the description. Definitely go and check that out. I've got mine pre-ordered. I'm very excited for it because I love anything that details like the production of films and stuff like that, and it reminds me a bit of the whole thing that got me started on Bushrangers and Ned Kelly, which was the magazine that was released about The Last Outlaw, which that was what it did. It detailed the whole production and the history behind what they were doing, and showed you how they put it all together, and there's some amazing photography in there that just made me go, wow. Because up to that point I'd been interested in animation, but that was about it. And then I saw this and I'm like, I want to make movies. I want to make a Ned Kelly movie. I want to make Bushranger movies. And so that sort of spurred on a lifelong passion, as it were. Now the last thing that is related to the film that I really want to talk about is the new poster art that has been released, and I'm very excited for this. Growing up, when I grew up, there wasn't a lot of posters for films that relied on just, digitally compositing people's portraits on a picture. We actually got some really awesome artwork on film posters by people like Drew Struzan and Richard Amsel. You look at Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, anything that was sort of up until about 2000, you got a lot of really awesome hand-painted and hand-drawn posters. In fact, one of the first Harry Potter movies, I think it must have been The Philosopher's Stone, was actually done by Drew Struzan, and it has a feel to it that the later posters don't have. And we've got something along those lines for The Legend of Ben Hall. So Ross Morgan is a visual artist who has created a hand-drawn poster for The Legend of Ben Hall, and it really gives you that vibe of like the classic cinema, the old westerns like Hang 'em High and Alamo and all that sort of stuff, but with that kind of bushranger feel to it, and it's really awesome. And there's lots of clips and stuff of him putting it together, which is good too. You can find all that stuff at the Facebook for The Legend of Ben Hall. It's just really cool to see hand-drawn art promoting a film again. That's just, again, because I'm a visual person, that's something I really love. So I guess that's probably it for now. There's a lot of stuff to cover, but before I go, I really want to thank Matthew Holmes, who has given me a bit of a sneak peek at some of the things that they've been doing, and he actually allowed me to see the trailer in advance so that I could put this together in time for the release of the trailer. That was really awesome. I was very, very excited, and I haven't shown anyone. I've told them that they need to wait until the release to be able to see it, but it's really awesome to have a film where the production team, the director, are so ready, willing and able to interact with the fans, and it's very community based, this thing. And actually what I'll do is if you go to the Doctor Colin Facebook page, I've actually got a whole bunch of stuff there, including an interview with William Lee, who portrays Johnny Dunn in the film, and he talks in the interview about the use of social media for The Legend of Ben Hall, which is actually really cool. So go and check that out too. Do it. And yeah, very, very excited for this. Go and check out the Facebook stuff. Go and check out the trailer. Enjoy it the way that I enjoy it. I'm sure that you won't be disappointed. And anytime I get an update, be sure to tune back into the Doctor Colin channel, where I'll have something put together to talk about it for you. So thank you very, very much for tuning in, for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.